Hey everybody, it's Galmadex, and welcome back to another spooky season premiere draft of Duskmourn, House of Horror. Without further ado, let's get into the draft. I do not love this opening pack because none of the monocolored cards here are super powerful to push us in a specific direction. There's some fine role fillers like Most Valuable Slayer, Tunnel Surveyor, Watchdog, Veteran Survivor. They're all pretty decent cards in their colors, same with the Innocuous Rat. But not really pack one pick one worthy. Same with Turn Inside Out, great in any aggressive red deck. Has a lot of good synergy in the set with the Manifest Dread ability, filling up the graveyard well, replacing a creature. So that actually might be better than some of the other cards I mentioned, but still not a super powerful monocolored spell. So it's two just like decent multicolored options, and I'll go for the Wildfire Wickerfolk over the Victor. I've never been all that impressed by Victor. Find it pretty difficult to get like the multiple eerie triggers off of him to where he does something particularly good. So we'll start with Wildfire Wickerfolk, which is a card I do enjoy in the aggressive green-red Delirium decks. Pick two, this time it's a pretty easy Sheltered by Ghosts. This is probably the strongest uncommon in the whole set. Quite an absurd card, being able to remove a threat from your opponent's board while making one of your own, lifelinking and ward 2. They will eventually get their card back, probably, because all they have to do is blow up whatever creature you put this on, but the tempo you gain from both getting rid of their threat and gaining a bajillion life for a couple turns is massive. So Shelter by Ghost is incredible, and I'm really happy to take that. Now, Ghost Vacuum's quite a strong rare in a long game as well. The game goes long enough, this eventually just spits out a bunch of 1/1 flyers, which is good, but I do think that the Shelter by Ghost is a little bit better since it's better at more points of the game. Basically, anytime you draw this card, it's good, whereas Ghost Vacuum in the opening hand, if you don't make it to 6 mana turn 6, could be a little bit awkward. Also, if you top deck at late game, it takes a few turns before you actually get any spirits out of it, so really at its best when you hit it somewhere in the middle of the curve. Pick 3. Maybe I'm just not that into this set, but I feel like these packs, our pack 1 and our pack 3 here have just been super unexciting to me. I guess we could take a Liver Die, instant speed removal, or instant speed reanimation. Ideally, you're trying to reanimate something at instant speed and block one of your opponent's creatures with it, kill that out of nowhere, get a 2-for-1 out of it. It's also Drag to the Roots, being able to destroy any non-land permanents is quite strong, but it is color restrictive, being a 2-color spell. Do you think it's probably just between these two uncommons? I really don't think there's anything else going on in the pack. Guess we could go like green, red, black, do some Jund stuff with Wickerfolk. That could be fine. Yeah, I'll take the Drag to the Roots here. Pick 4 looks like it might pan out well that we took that Drag to the Roots, because here's a Brood Spinner. Great signpost uncommon for the same color pair, cares about filling the graveyard with as many different card types as possible, which is what the Delirium mechanic is doing, and what green-black as an archetype is doing. It's between that and the Ghost Vacuum. And again, I do like Ghost Vacuum, it's just that Brood Spinner is very, very, very good. So it's still close between the two. I think I'm going to take the Brood Spinner here, lock in on some Delirium, take the card that is better at more points of the game. Great early, great late. Come on in, Brood Spinner. This also gives us a pretty clear path to take from here. Seeing Drag to the Roots into Brood Spinner, pick 4, pick 5. Solid enough sign for green-black. Now we could take like a enchantment creature like Grasping Longneck for 2 card types for Delirium. Or Friendly Teddy is an artifact creature, that's 2 card types for Delirium, but this one's very, very bad for the cost. Longneck is also not that exciting for its mana cost, it's really the creature types that make it good. Is Rootwise Survivor good enough to just take the fleshy creature here? I mean, if you get 1 survival trigger off it, it's quite decent, and because it has haste, it's a little easier to get the survival trigger than most cards. Yeah, sure, I'll try out the Rootwise Survivor here. Alright, Manifest Dread's really nice at hitting Delirium. So you get a sorcery in your grave no matter what. You look at the top 2 cards of your library, one of those goes into the grave, so probably like a sorcery and a land, and then whenever the creature that you manifested dies as well, then you have a sorcery, a land, and whatever card type the manifested card was too. So really, really good at fueling Delirium quickly. I think it is pretty good for green-black or green-red, or if we do all 3 of these colors, green-black, red. I like the Manifest Dread here a little bit more than the Bashful Beastie. Find it's a little more important to get your critical mass of early plays than late game plays. You can't run like 7 5-drop creatures, but you can certainly run like 7 2-drop creatures, so I like to take the 2-drops more highly. Another Drag to the Roots pick 7's a great sign for green-black. Pretty happy to have gone Drag into Brood Spinner. We'll keep that path going. Here I think the on-color creatures, the Flesh Burrower, the Fanatic of the Harrowing are filler enough to speculate on off-color removal. Sultai is another direction that you can go that's pretty good with Delirium stuff. Honestly, if you're green at the core, you can do almost any 3-color pair in this set. So speculating on an off-color card, if it's much better than the on-color ones, is perfectly fine. Maybe earlier I should have even speculated on a Meat Locker. There was a Meat Locker in the same pack as Rootwise Survivor. I do think Meat Locker is likely a better card than Rootwise Survivor or any of the on-color stuff. So that was perhaps another opportunity to be speculating here, seeing as we are gonna be green at the core, it looks like. Watchdog is another card that is just solid filler for Delirium decks. Surveils when you play it, Surveils when it dies. It's gonna help you get your card types in grave. A little draw spell, Derelict Attic, or a very filler creature. The Inspector gets bigger over time as you're flipping up your manifested cards. So that's, I think, better than Cautious Survivor, but still pretty slow and not that exciting. But, I mean, Attic is also not that exciting, just not the greatest pack. Here, I'm really happy to take a green-black duel. And that's perfectly solid, and it'll help us have more of our green and black sources and have more room to play off-color basics, even if we don't find off-color dual lands for whatever we're splashing in. Pack 2, pick 1. I feel like the highest potential upside card here is Paranormal Analyst. Right, we can't really be 3-color double white splash. That feels like we're really pushing it, as strong as Hovership is. But we could certainly get a Paranormal Analyst in here easy enough. Just costs a single blue. And we're going to be doing at least a little bit of manifesting ideally. We currently only have 1 Manifest Dread, but we can take more pretty highly to go with the Analyst. Turn those into full-on card draw spells. The alternative to play it safe is just taking like a solid on-color removal spell like Clobbering. That wouldn't be bad at all, but I'll take the Analyst here. Winter Misanthropic Guide, just very bad. Each player gets to draw extra cards. So it's one of those benefits both players kind of cards, which are just not really good in 1v1. Pack 2, pick 2. This is a disappointing pack for pick 2. Looking at all of the green, blue, and black cards, not a single one is one I'm excited to put in my deck. So I'll probably take Scorching Dragonfire if we do end up slashing red instead of blue. That'll give us another removal spell. Optimistic Scavenger is quite good in like blue-white Eerie, where you're playing a bunch of enchantments to trigger cards like this. But it doesn't really make any sense, even if we were green, black, white off the splash here. Meathook Massacre II is very cool. It's also immensely difficult to cast, even if we're not splashing anything, but especially if we splash in a 3rd color. I feel like Brood Spinner is just going to be infinitely more consistent and still very good at its 2 different slots on the mana curve, 2 or 6 mana. I'm going to go for the Brood Spinner here. We'll play it safe on that one. There's a green-blue dual land that can help us with the blue splash if we go that way with it. Take that. We could also take Break Down the Door. This puts more Manifest Dread into our deck, gives us another instant, helps fill our grave for Delirium, main deckable artifact enchantment removal as well. Break Down the Door actually is looking pretty appealing to me, especially considering we don't know for sure if we're specifically splashing blue. I think if I were 100% splashing blue instead of red here, then this would be like a really big consideration, but since we're still almost 50-50 between the two, I think I'm going to go Break Down the Door here. Pick 5, another Drag to the Roots. We'll just get every green-black card in the entire draft pod. Hope that somebody opens up the green-black rare, the Wicker Folk that spits out like 2 1/1 flyers when it comes into play. That would make the deck excellent. Double red is a little difficult, but when it's double red on a 6 mana card, we can we can get to double red a little easier off of 6 lands total than we could like if it were a 3-mana double red card. So I don't think that's the worst splash in the universe. And I think I have enough removal like the triple drag to the roots. I don't really need like a live or die here. It could still be playable because we're doing some self-milling, but we don't even have anything big to reanimate with it yet, and we're halfway through the draft, so I speculate on maybe splashing a Fear Burning Alive in as well. Well, I was 100% accurate. I'm going to get every green-black card in this draft pod. We can get a 4th drag to the roots. That's better than another Unable to Scream. It's really just drag to the roots or Strangled Cemetery here. Honestly, another Strangled Cemetery might be better, but I think it's too funny. I'm going to see if I can have like 7 drag to the roots by the end of this draft. Another long neck to fill that grave. Miasma Demon's okay at stabilizing, but it's not that good because you are like fully discarding cards to try to clear out your opponent's little threats. Yeah, I'm not super into it. Bleeding Woods might be more exciting than Grasping Long Neck here, but I do need to fill out my creatures. I'll take a Bleeding Woods here. That might come back to bite us here if we don't find enough filler creatures by the end of this draft, but we'll see. Say Its Name is good in Delirium Strategies. Fills that grave, picks up whatever we need, or we have Winter's Intervention, which is fine, cheap removal. I don't think this deck needs that, though, with 4 drag to the roots, so I'll take Say Its Name. Okay, pick 10, filler creature. Pick 11, nobody's on Boros, sad day. Somebody's going to get a pick 12 Midnight Mayhem, pick 14 Arabella, and then they're not even going to be a red-white player. It's going to be so depressing. Yep, somebody's going to get a last pick Arabella? No, go for it, guys. Have fun. We opened up another Meathook Massacre 2. We could have been a double Meathook Massacre 2 deck. That's pretty funny, but again, immensely difficult to cast, even in dedicated 2-color decks that have like a couple dual lands. A 3-color deck, just not going to work here. We've got a great card for us, though. The Under the Skin here. Very good value. 3 mana 2/2 plus pick up another permanent from our grave to our hand. So because it manifests Dread when we play it, we can kind of make sure that if we look at the top 2 cards, one of them is an instant sorcery and the other is a permanent, we'll put the instant or sorcery onto the battlefield as a 2/2, and then let the permanent go to the grave, pick up the permanent from grave, draw that. So 3 mana 2/2 draw a card, great deal, and that's even a little bit better than that, because when you draw this later in the game, it's not just draw a card, it's draw the best card out of your grave. Pack 3, pick 2, some more Manifest Dreadin' with an Innocuous Rat, fill in the grave. Good early blocker, perfectly happy with that. I'm almost certainly not supposed to take Drag to the Roots 5, but I'm such an idiot. I can't resist it. Another Under the Skin pick 4. Beautiful. We'll take that. We don't really have any bomb power in this deck, right? Like, we have the consistent fixing, we're filling our grave really well, big late-game Delirium payoffs, tons of removal. The one thing we really need is, like, really good finishers, and we have, like, none of those. So we're just going to kind of Dirtle Fest until our opponent dies. That's what we're hoping to do. We don't have... I mean, even an Altenac without any Say Its Names would be good in this deck. Altenac just like a 7-mana 9/9 Trample or something ridiculous would be fine in here. Take Defiant Survivor over Cautious Survivor, but I don't love either of those. I do like House Cartographer a decent bit. So green-black specifically was pretty open. There are definitely other green players in this draft pod, though, particularly probably in green-red, I would guess. Because we haven't seen a single copy of Spineseeker Centipede, which is one of the best ways to fix your colors in green. It's a 3-mana 2/1. When it enters, you search for any basic land and put it into your hand. This would be, like, really good. Cultist is just okay. Speculate on Growing Dread. We're on 3 blue spells, 3 red spells. Just pick at the end of the draft. Honestly, the biggest thing leaning me more red than blue right now is just the fact that I have 1 Bleeding Woods. but Paranormal Analyst is starting to look incredible in this deck because we have double Under the Skin, Break Down the Door, Manifest Dread, a Growing Dread as well. I feel like we probably want to try to do blue as the splash instead. If we can get there. Paxol Filler. No, just rare draft. Highest rarity card for Vault Progress. Here's the found footage is okay with the Delirium stuff. We could also play a Cryptid Inspector in here. We've got some manifesting going on, but the card selection, grave filling. Long neck. Dang, there were only 5 copies of Drag to the Roots in this pod. We couldn't get the 7 drag deck. Well, didn't get any Centipedes, but we got the Moldering Gym Weight Room, which was fine. Less exciting than Centipede, but definitely playable fixing. Alright. We're again lacking on that top end, so just get a random 7-6 trample. Sure, that'll be one of our ways to try to end the game. Alright. Think we go green-blue with this. Just need to cut a few cards. And we will have a deck. I'm not playing Fear of Lost Teeth without pretty major synergies for it. Did I just make my curve super strange and just cut my 4 and 5 mana creature? Because these are my least favorite creatures I'm looking at here. Yeah, I think survivors are my least favorite of these creatures. Just all 2 mana stuff all day long. We'll pretend the blue spells are 4 drops because it'll take longer to find the blue mana. We're not going to be running these out turn 2 often at all. Those are kind of our late game value plays. Still 2 more cuts. Maybe lower this blue splash, cut the weakest of the 3 blue spells, cut the Growing Dread. And then from there, just go based on card type for Brood Spinner Delirium purposes. Try to keep as high of a variety of card types as possible. I only have to cut 1 more card. I'll have plenty at all different mana slots. Regardless, so here's creatures. Sorceries, here's enchantment. Instants. Artifacts. No, it's definitely not found footage, I can tell you that. 6 instants, 4 sorceries, 5 enchantments, a bajillion creatures that are only creatures, like just flesh. So you probably just cut one of these creatures that doesn't have a second card type. I don't want to cut a 3 mana one. Leaves me with just Defiant Survivor. Oh, I feel like Rat is worse than Defiant Survivor in this deck in particular, because we don't care about sacrificing anything at all. And with 5 Drag to the Roots, I might actually be able to attack with a Defiant Survivor against an empty board and get that going. Yeah, I'll cut a Rat over Survivor. Well, just a slightly awkward curve. Alright, green, black, splash, blue, Delirium. No bombs. The green-based Delirium decks in this format, in my opinion, are the most kind of princey of all the decks. The decks that really, really want the great bomb rares to get going. The more aggressive strategies, blue, white, white, red, I think you can still make reasonable decks without them, but when you're like the splashy 3-color Delirium-focused deck, I think just like one of like the Scarecrow dude that spits out a bunch of flyers goes an incredibly long way, so do feel a little awkward here on all commons, uncommons, green, black, but I mean, it was obviously monumentally open, this specific color pair. We do still have some good synergy and some high power plays we can do, like a late game Brood Spinner to get a bunch of insects. So we'll just have to see how it all plays out for us. Without further ado, let's head into the gameplay. Here we are on the play for game 1. I need to draw a land. But then I get to Moldering Gym and have access to all these cards. So I'm going to keep a full 7 here. Can be any land in our whole deck and we'll be fine. If I don't draw land, we're actually still fine because I can just forest cycle this to guarantee the Moldering Gym on 3. And just a lot better if we top deck a land. Alright, opponent's on our red deck. Boros, fastest deck. Well, I think a good blue-white deck can actually be faster than Boros in the set. Just because of how immensely powerful blue-white is as an archetype. I don't think Defiant Survivor is likely to get any triggers against Boros here. So let's just get our mana set up. All drags. We're 1 copy from all 5 in hand here. Which would be objectively pretty funny. I could use some surveilling here, I think. For land 5 and 6. 2 different 6-man abilities we really want to hit. Glassworks the Brood Spinner, sure. Means they don't play another creature for the turn. You're Survivor. You're not a land, little cartographer friend. That's real awkward. Mill 2 lands when we're really looking for land 6 for our weight room. But getting that Survivor trigger was still really good for this turn. Now we have the blocker for Piggy Bank. Keep the Survivor around with 3 Drag to the Roots to try to keep the path clear for it if they can't remove it. Vengeful Possession. Borrow our land. They got lethal here. They got another 6 damage somehow. Or do they have the sack a creature to make it cost less removal? Kill both of our cards. Gross. Still hit land 6 here. I might have to just drag to the roots here. Luckily I can play Cartographer and hold up drag to the roots still. But I think it's a little too risky to just like poop out a 6/6. Because then 1 removal spell puts us to 3. And if we're at 3 life when they have a Shattered Yard they can unlock, it's a very dangerous position to be in. Fear Surveillance. Elegant Rotunda. Very rotund. Brood Spinner is a huge one here. Play that still drag. find the blue source too. That'll be Delirium if I put the sorcery in grave, and then I don't mind drawing another removal spell here. Especially a 1-mana removal. I can cast, not cast, but I can unlock the Wait Room and cast Unable to Scream in the same turn. Off 7 mana. Painter Studio, draw 2. Finds removal and a 2/2. They do have to blow up our spider right now if they want us to not get a million insects. So we might see them Betrayer's Bargain, sacrificing one of their rooms. If they don't Betrayer's Bargain sacrificing one of their rooms, then I think I have to activate Brood Spinner on our next turn. Because the turn after this, they can just untap and cast Betrayer's Bargain without sacrificing anything. As well as playing the Cheerleader. Okay, well now they can sack the treasure instead of sacking a room, so they're definitely killing Brood Spinner. Yeah. Alright. Nice. Untap land here. The Defaced Gallery is pretty good against the Unable to Scream, making sure the Cheerleader still pokes for 1 here. Opponent is desperately trying to find lethal here, I imagine. Diversion Specialist gives them some really good options if they can't find that lethal, and it looks like that is going to be the case here. Yeah, they're just going to tap out to set up the Specialist to try to grind out the long game. No attacks. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't think there's anything I could draw that I need to cast this right now. Okay, well, Under the Skin would be 1. Just gonna pick up like my 7/6 with that. That's a very threatening board with Defaced Gallery and Shattered Yard. But I can play 2 blockers with Under the Skin and a Drag to the Roots, so I can blow up 3 of the attacking creatures still. Pick up a Brood Spinner here instead of a Branch Snapper. And I could cast all 3. Seems fair. Might have to drag the Specialist before they untap. Could pick up Unable to Scream instead of Brood Spinner now. Am I unable to scream Diversion Specialist and still have removal up? I feel like Brood Spinner's better. See, I pick up Brood Spinner, I have 3 blockers. I blow up special 3 blockers for what I would need 4 blockers to stop, but they're playing off the top. That should be fine. And they're super dead next turn. And they're still dead to me having 1 more attacker than they have blockers, which is already the case off of drag Unable to Scream. Unable to Scream 1 and then drag another 1, attack all 4. They've only got 3 blockers total after that. It's close. I'm gonna go Unable to Scream. I like being able to hold the drag to the roots for that instant speed element. Of maybe they try to go for an onboard lethal attack, but because we have the instant speed removal in hand, it just makes it so their blockers are all tapped and they're super dead. See what kind of burn is the last card in their hand here. Nothing. Alright, pretty long game 1, but that's to be expected from our deck. I mean, we have to stabilize against their early damage and then slowly grind out a better board and chip away, since we don't have the huge finishers here, so that is probably how most of the games are going to go. Either they do keep going on and I'm slowly chipping in till we find the win, or at some point along that path of trying to stabilize, we just die. I think that's probably how most of the games are going to go today, but we'll see. We are 1-0 heading into game 2. Game 2, another mono green opener. This hand actually has 2 drops, which is nice, but I might still have to do the Branch Snapper to guarantee the Moldering Gem here. Top deck a land, and now I don't have to do that. Brood Spinner's big enough, Fear of Lost Teeth doesn't even chip away at it here. Really don't like the Watchdog on this board. I'll just go for the Manifest Shred. We'll meet in the middle on that. Ah, Under the Skin. Go Island Bounce spell, please. Oh, the Island. Do it. Do it. Bounce my card. You know you want to bounce my card. Dang. No bouncing today. Just gonna have to let our wary watchdog be depressed, I think. Oh, I got the 6 lands. Sure. Gives me faster Delirium, but... Okay, well now I can ditch that for that one. Now I have full Delirium. No instant in the grave yet, so we could also play Drag to the Roots before we crack the Brood Spinner, but I imagine it's probably going to die. It has to survive a turn cycle. We can't sacrifice it the turn we played, even if we have all 8 mana, so... It's not the most likely to actually get activated against a black deck. Tap and stun it. Okay. We can drag to the roots that enchantment then during their end step, to then sack it the next turn. I have to do that instead of playing a Branch Snapper, though. Or just manifesting off the Weight Room. Kind of a hard sell right now. They're 2 lands away from using the Shuffle In ability, so I think we can wait till at least that is closer. Okay, now they're one turn away from trying to shuffle away the Brood Spinner. So this would be the turn. Probably chump this and kill the Watchdog here. Sure. So trade into the Watchdog. I will draw my land. I'm already going to have an instant engrave from Drag to the Roots. So I don't need to put that in grave. I'm fine to draw that. It can kill Fear of the Dark at worst. Oh, right, I'm not going to draw it because the House Cartographer is a Nombo. Never mind. If I want to stop Stay Hidden, Stay Silent, I have to do it before they can play a land. So I'm going to do that here. Because I can't respond to them playing a land and then activating that. If they activate it and then I try to destroy it, it's too late. The ability's already on the stack. Wow, this Brood Spinner is going to be 6 1/1 insects if they don't kill it this turn. Because we'll have land, enchantment, artifact, creature, instant, sorcery. That's the max card types this deck can do. That's the max card types most decks can do. I think that's like everything but Planeswalker. Meatlocker stun the Brood Spinner. Nice. Unfortunate. Drag the Fear of the Dark and just get bashing in. One mana from dragging and playing Branch Snapper. It's fine. Get my triggers, keep my value going. Actually, this draws me the land. What am I talking about? This is actually perfect. Aha! My mana was better than I thought it was. Three Death Touch. Oh god, and then a Great Rare. Certainly weaker at this point in the game, but still great. Draw a card, get some counters, make it a copy somebody. Go, go, go. Pretty equally valuable. I do think the Trampler is more important at this point. But they can only kill one, so we just send both in, get a bunch of damage in. If they can't kill Brood Spinner here, they're super dead. And even if they can, we have a lot of damage elsewhere at this point. Do some digging with that Hall Creeper. Music just completely died. I have to sit here alone with my thoughts and feelings? What the heck, Arena? That's evil. This is the true house of horror. The inner machinations of your mind. Oh, it's back. There we go. Enduring tenacity. Sure. Oh, you don't even have to sack Broodspinner at sorcery speed? That's wild. Show me what you got. Jump in a trade. Right, they've got a single black mana, so I'm pretty certain this game is over. Okay, black and a blue. GG from opponent. That will do it. One Flood Pits Drowner is not enough to stop all the insects. We are 2-0 heading to game 3. Could be risky on the draw. Play a found footage and just really pray that hits the green. But if it does, it's quite solid. Quite reasonable, because then we get all 3 colors. Some early interaction. There are plenty of slower archetypes in this format, and if we're against any of those, this should be perfectly fine. Just wait until turn 3 to hit our colors. Drawn a fly. Well, there you go. Top deck the forest was always a possibility as well. That makes the hand super great if we just top deck that. I mean, not super great, but solid. By this deck standards, pretty great. Blue, white is the most aggressive blue deck. I might attack here because there are a lot of cards in the blue-white enchantments deck that are going to put a +1/+1 counter on the board or an equipment on the board to where they like cast a Glimmerlight so the researcher can attack and then they just equip the researcher and then I can't block with a watchdog anyway. Or they'll play the thing that like puts a +1/+1 counter on 2 creatures. And it's like, well, then I can't block the researcher anyway as well. Awkwardly, they had neither of those, but those are both commons that are very, not unintended, common. So I think that was reasonable there. Now that they have a bunch of other creatures that, even if they get a counter or Glimmerite on them, are blockable by Watchdog, will certainly not attack this time. Worst case scenario with Under the Skin is picking up a land, but that's kind of bad. I do kind of need to play another blocker here. I think it's unable to scream a flyer and play it Under the Skin. No! How does this always happen? It's a good land to hit, though. Ooh, look at that. We're stable. Easy. And now they're holding up a counterspell when I have a 6-mana room? Try countering that ability. You can't. Try countering my Manifest flip up. They probably have instant speed removal in hand as well. There's gotta be some instants in there if they're not just like playing creatures. They could counter a Drag to the Roots, and then they've spent a Cheerleader, Researcher, and a counter spell to kill one creature and one removal spell, so it's still a 3 for 2. That's still in my favor. And then obviously if they don't have the counter spell here, this is very, very favored. Oh, that's fine. You can just get a creature right back out of it. We got a really lucky creature too. Well, I mean, not countering the Drag to the Roots makes me feel like... Well, they could still have a counter spell, right? Because... I think remake for the creature is probably just as good as countering there and then taking the 2-for-1 trade. Yeah, they could still have the counter, but I'll just play the 2/2. Alright, they do not have a counter. I think we're just straight up on the aggressive now. They got like a bunch of 5-mana cards in hand or something. This whole time they've had like multiple cards in hand just sitting there. So I'm not super sure what's been going on. We're just milling towards one of our other 5 Drag to the Roots because that'd be insta-lethal. Root Spinner is not insta-lethal, but it is very good. I got 4 Drag to the Roots hiding in the bottom 14. That's so funny. I will find you. And I will cast you. Unless opponent concedes too fast. Whoa, they're all in the bottom 11? I don't think I'm even going to Manifest Dread. Because they could have a board wipe in blue-white. And also, if I Manifest, it's probably 2 Drag to the Roots on top. It's not crazy. Well, I've got the mana for mega guaranteed lethal next turn here with the Brood Spinner crack. And there's the concession from our opponent. That is 3-0 for this deck. At least a 50-50 record once again in Duskmourn House of Horrors, but hopefully we can break through that and get a little farther this time. No black source here. Under the Skin does dig sort of for lands. Oh, that is not the correct emote to click. That would have been bad. There's Flesh Burrower from our opponent to start them off. Show me the cheap removal for Paranormal Analyst or perish. Please choose to perish. Cause good lord, double Under the Skin with Analyst. That is an aggressive Frantic Search. Funnily enough, Under the Skin is a bit of a nombo with the Analyst until I have another permanent engrave. Because if I Under the Skin, I'm putting a 2/2 out, and then I'm picking up the permanent I mill. The Analyst isn't like drawing me an extra card in that exchange. Are they just all combat tricks in hand here? If so, this Drag to the Roots will win us the game. Having double removal in an opener against just trying to push damage with a bunch of tricks will certainly get there. One of those really strange scenarios. I actually wish that the long neck ability was a May ability so I could choose not to gain the life. Because if I were at 12, this would be untapped and I'd be able to play Under the Skin and unable to scream, which would be huge here. I think I still gotta just do this. I guess we're picking up long neck here, right? Oh, I guess I pick up both. Yeah, it doesn't matter what I click. I pick up both the other two with the analyst. Huge value. I don't remember if there's an untap trick in this set. But if there is, based on how things are going, they'll probably have it. Oh my lord! Cease and desist. You're flesh burrowing. Death Touch Trample just going ham. It's a good thing our deck is a drag. Don't tell me you have Frantic Strength copy 3. Okay, no. They just jumped. Fair. I was so ready for block Frantic Strength. GG. Man, no removal for this analyst is going swimmingly for us. So I'll pick up a drag to the roots and an unable to scream. Ka-ching. Ka-ching. Here's a little life gain over Brood Spinner here, just to be super safe. But I think we're stable. I mean, as much early damage as Flesh Burrower plus double strength is, getting a 3-for-1 killing it is huge. I might have to drag to the roots my own long neck if they have a second copy of Fear Burning Alive, but again, I can kind of guarantee safety here holding up drag to the roots, so I'm going to do that over anything else. And they're still on like a 2-turn clock. I guess 3-turn clock if I hold up the drag, but that feels better. Oh shoot, I didn't realize. Because the Unable to Scream just went to the grave there, I got Delirium mid-combat, which actually made it cheap enough I could have played a Brood Spinner and then hold this up, which would have been better. Missing some little stuff there. Alright. They need another Fear Burning Alive or we win. And it has to be the top decker. I think they would have cast last turn over the Fear being hunted. Oh lord. The deal 2, draw 2. And that feeds. That is not going to do it. Here's lethal. Kind of close. Kind of close. They got a lot of damage in early off that Flesh Burrower. Maybe I should have just done able to screamed earlier, played it safer, but still get that stabilized in the late game. Again, the 1 removal spell against the super suited up Burrower just dealt with the majority of their board. That is 4-0 heading to game 5. Alright, we are on the draw now for game 5. Still undefeated with this deck somehow. I mean, it's got a lot of high quality uncommons for sure. The double Brood Spinner, double Under the Skin, 5 of the Drag to the Roots is pretty funny. Turn 2 Nashi on the play. Well, can't block that Menace. That thing is just going to rip us to pieces. Pick up legendaries and enchantments from their grave. Yeah, this is not good. Definitely looking for our playset +1 of Drag to the Roots here for this Nashi. Oh, they hit the enchantment immediately. Great value. So that's already just straight up drawing them a card. Oh, Lord. Skullcrab Nashi? I mean, we'll have Delirium super fast now. Yeah, we already have Delirium. But if I don't draw, again, the 5 Drag to the Roots, then it's still really bad. The skin already, like, doesn't really have any targets I'm really looking for currently. Rather just long neck first, wait for them to mill me a little more before I enter the skin. Gets an enchantment in the grave, and since I've got the found footage on board, we can have all 6 card types in grave. 4 potential Brood Spinner sacks, although I expect our Brood Spinner to die before we get there. Most important part is just the 4 for regular Delirium, for if we draw another Drag to the Roots. Unholy Annex. Oh, Jesus. One of the biggest bombs in the whole set. Of course, they milled 2 of our 5 drags very early. Some favorable RNG on these mills for our opponent. And they get the giant demon, draw an extra card each turn, and start draining us life here very soon. I gotta find a drag. Come on, found footage. You're not drags. I can play Cartographer here, though. Just probably have to keep that. If I attack here, 1 removal spell gets Nashi in again. Feels pretty bad. We haven't seen the second swamp from our opponent. We haven't seen the second black source for that ritual chamber, so they'll have to draw into that. Yikes. Mirror Room's another great rare. I'm just gonna double Skull Crab and go for the mill win. Yep. Drag to the Roots copy 3 is down. Yeah, the Fractured Realm is insane with rooms. All those triggered abilities popping off. I mean, I'm already at 14 cards left. I don't see any path to victory here. Even if there was absolutely no mill route to this game, we're just dying to Ritual Chambers super hard. They have 3 different rooms they can unlock. That's a mill 4 apiece, so they have another mill 12 on their board. And we have 14 cards left, so it's just gonna get us. Again, I don't think this is a horrific... I mean, the fact that they have really good rares like Ritual Chamber, Unholy Annex, and Mirror Room Fractured Realm does mean their deck is quite good. It's a scary matchup. But I don't think the whole mill route is like a horrific matchup for us because we're a very removal heavy deck, so if we could just have found removal for the first Skull Crab before they got the Mirror Realm, we'd be fine on that front. And just get the Delirium value. But again, the RNG really didn't favor us there. They just milled all the removal, and we did not draw it. Nine cards left. I don't think I can even afford to attack with these because manifesting's so bad for me. I mean, I kill a Fear of Lost Teeth with one of them and hit for 2 with the other. They can try to Fear of Lost Teeth the Brood Spinner to kill it because it dies off of just 1 damage, but Brood Spinner's ability is instant speed, so that wouldn't matter. Four mills per activation. They probably just get 1 activation next turn. I guess I kind of have to kill them in 2 swings, so I'll just see if I can do that by sending these. All right. If they can double Eerie this turn, we're dead either way. We had 9 cards left. They would have milled 8. Now we have 6 cards left. They can mill 8. Off of double trigger. Unwilling Vessel. Cracked Skull the face down. Mills 4. I don't think we can find lethal this turn. I think they got us. They milled every single drag to the roots. We drew 0 of 5. I mean, what can you do? They've had to draw 2 every turn from turn 3 onward. I'm gonna die to our Defiant Survivor's ability here. That's funny. I guess it wouldn't matter, because their other their other Skull Crab is alive regardless. So, even if I didn't attack with Defiant Survivor there, they just unlocked Slimy Aquarium or whatever and went off of that mill. God, we were like 1 turn off. I feel like if we just drew 1 of our 5 drag to the roots, that would be the 1 turn off that we needed to lethal them. But 0 of 5, that was brutal. All right, that'll be our first loss. 4-1 heading into game number 6. All right, here we are on the play for game number 6. 4-1 right now here, starting off with a curve of Paranormal Analyst into Break Down the Door to immediately get some manifest value. Unless they blow up the Analyst with 2 mana, which is possible in red. They could have Scorching Dragonfire. Alright, A-okay with me. We'll just curve out with Long Neck instead and save the Break Down the Door for another purpose. It is unfortunate that Dragonfire exiles, or we could Under the Skin back the Analyst. Be pretty happy. Centipede from our opponent's great value. Gets that land when they play it, and then it can trade off into the long neck. Pretty good. Nothing we can really do about that, but we can get a good permanent in our grave for our Under the Skin now, which is fine. Wickerfolk Thresher, we can break that down. I don't hate that. What I don't love about it is I can't double spell and do that. I could get a forest and do that. But the only thing in this hand that like needs that extra mana is the 6-drop anyway, which I would be discarding to get the forest. I think I'm perfectly happy to break down the door. Get a poke in here. When it's on a creature that could be like drawing our opponent cards soon enough, I think it's a fine target. They're probably popping this long neck. They are not popping this long neck. Ooh, I didn't draw into double green, so I still can only cast one spell a turn. No. Yeah, 4/2 is good enough to just go for the more mana-efficient spell. I could lock in the Branch Snapper mana. Oh wait, no, the Swamp wouldn't help anyway. I need another green source. That's definitely the right pick then. If that were a forest instead of a swamp, then I think there is an argument between long neck or a second forest. Okay. Little percussionist combo on the long neck. Vengeful Possession. I can just make Vengeful Possession pretty useless here. It already kind of is, unless they have a second sack card. Okay, now it really is utterly useless, so we'll just get that exiled forever. At this point, I might have to just force cycle this thing. But I am greed incarnate. And greed is good. Now I've got triple green. Our opponent is flooded, apparently. So I gotta get like Roller Crusher righted or something, but I'm not really gonna play around like one of the strongest mythics in the format, so just jam everybody out here. Already got an instant engrave because break down the door, so we just put that out in case the weirdest scenario ever happens and they go island bounce spell. Final Vengeance, the 5/5, get a 2/2. No stats there. I mean, might as well send both. The long neck just trades into 2/2 anyway. The 2/2 gets its damage in. Betrayer's Bargain the face down. They got one card left in hand. And it was not removal for Branch Snapper. That is 5-1. We are in the money out of this draft wherever things go from here. Game 7 on the draw here with a great curve. All three of our colors off that island top deck. Green-blue from our opponent. There's Overgrown Zealot. Starting them off. think Break Down the Door is a solid draw here, and we already have 4 mana guaranteed in the hand. I don't think I need to Surveil into mana. Cryptid Inspector. Probably going to drag that soon. Emergence the Survivor. Drop a Manifest Dread. This deck has 4 other copies of Drag to the Roots. I'm obviously going to blow up the Inspector before it gets any bigger. Ooh, manifested a Fear of Isolation. It's pretty good. These are both flying. Send in the Watchdog then. A reach trade, gain some life. Helps us prolong the game. 3rd card type into the grave as well. Could also Break Down the Door and just trade 1 for 1 into the Fear of Isolation. Break Down the Door also theoretically works as like a combat trick later, getting rid of the flying equipment and then like blocking with some big ground creature, but currently our creatures are all so small that's not going to be relevant. The Flood Pits Drowner, that is a fantastic uncommon. Taps and stuns somebody and then it can shuffle them back in the next turn. Oh, Fear of Isolation also fantastic uncommon. With good enter effects. Bajillion flyers here. This is rough. I definitely have to Break Down the Door this time. Let the Unable to Scream go to grave so I can Under the Skin it. Yeah, I can't just like play a long neck, they're just gonna tap and stun that long neck. Let's see, they got the counter spell here. Nope. Hold all of that mana up. Oh yeah, because Drowner's instant speed. Drowner's got flash. Just play double reach creature here, probably. Drawing the Brood Spinner. That feels better than Under the Skin for just 1 block against the flyers. With the 0/4 up, I attack both. Only 1 gets in for like 2 damage. It's probably better to hold a blocker for Drowner for now. I do want to draw land 6 for if they don't kill Brood Spinner. So we do that. Flying Spine Seeker Centipede. Bashful Beastie. So probably be working on giving that flying. feel like the play is to make 5 1/1 flyers. There's not much of an argument elsewhere. Can Under the Skin be unable to scream, but that gives our opponent a window of opportunity to blow up Brood Spinner, which I don't want to give them. I think that is the second opponent today who has tried to blow up the Brood Spinner. There are some abilities you can only use at sorcery speed in this set, like the Stay Hidden, Stay Silent. So it's an easy mistake to make. Okay. All in. One blocker held up here. Can do that. Take 5. Actually, what if I just do this? They have no blockers. 4, 5, 6. Plus 5, that's 11. Yep. It's Xaxes. Opponent lose themselves dead on board. 6 plus 5 is 11. GG. All right. 6-1 now. We are heading into the final battle with 2 rounds in the chamber. We'll see how it all ends up as we head into this final boss. All right, here we are for what could be the final game of Magic. We've got no black source in the hand, but Under the Skin can mill a couple cards. And if either is a swamp, then we draw it. And if neither is a swamp, we've milled 2 cards closer to 1. So I don't hate the opening hand. Plus, we don't need the black source until at least 4 mana for Drag to the Roots. Because it's not like we're going to hit Delirium before then. And we could always top deck an incredible land. Thank you, Arena Shuffler Gods. Strangled Cemetery is the first draw. Sand is all removal all day. There's a Brood Spinner. We're unable to scream that. Don't need to deal with it till they have 6 mana. We're on the full-on mirror match here. Green, blue, black from our opponent as well. Well, that helps. Now I can Brood Spinner and unable to scream instead. Put some permanents to choose from in our grave for our Under the Skin. And work our way towards Delirium for Drag to the Roots. After I cast the first Drag to the Roots, we'll have Delirium for the second one. So I could go like turn 4 Drag to the Roots, turn 5 I could play a 3-drop and a Drag to the Roots with the right mana.
Looks like I gotta fight my way out of this. I've trained with the best.
During your turn, he has hexproof. Okay. Yeah, I think we're doing that play. I think we are doing that play. Drag to the Roots on 4, and then on 5, now that we have Delirium, 3-drop and a Drag to the Roots for whatever they play. So long neck drag. Watch, this creature is going to be incredible. It was an enchantment. We don't talk about that, don't acknowledge that. Centipede. Full Delirium. Very good value. 3/3 Vigilance plus a land. Long neck's still good here. Gonna under the skin for a land at this rate. Well, I guess now I can pick up Unable to Scream. That's probably better. Kill the Analyst in response. No, the full-on counterspell. Very good. What is this emblem? Ninjas? Okay, there's like no ninjas. This is not Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. Top deck land, top deck land, top deck land. Bookworm! Oh lord. No top deck land. It's another Manifester though, so monumental analyst value is about to happen here. Would I rather have 2 2/2s or a 2/2 and a swamp in hand? I do need land 6 for Brood Spinner. It's probably too risky to assume I'm gonna get it off break down the door. So let's just get land 6 guaranteed. I don't hate the double block here. Even if I get removal spells or something, this is fine. Please kill the artifact. Ah, close. Almost had 6 Delirium for Brood Spinner. Glimmer Burst, draw 2 cards, get a 1/1. Trying to find that last second Brood Spinner removal. Play a land for turn, play a Growing Dread, so they get a full-on draw off of the Bookworm, instead of having to discard. Okay. No removal for the Brood Spinner. So we guarantee that here. I'm gonna attack with the face down as well. I doubt they block with the Bookworm on it, but even if they do, it means 6 1/1 flyers here, which is enough to kill them in 2 swings. And if they don't block, then 5 is enough to kill them in 2 swings, so either way it locks in a 2-turn kill off Brood Spinner insects. Fear of the Dark is fine, doesn't do anything about our insects in the sky. They move to the end step, get the trigger, and we'll get the insects. 2-turn clock in the sky here. The greatest draws, but still got that drag to the roots. Should we need it? I think we're just saving this for if they play like a flying or reach creature. They probably have a counterspell to protect that, but I pray that they don't. Each opponent's upkeep. Top deck any removal and kill them. By killing a 1/1 blocker. I guess all of our removal are dragged to the roots, which would kill them anyway because they could kill unable to scream. They're still on a 2-turn clock. Can they play 2 more removal spells? That's 1 reach blocker. Both of their cards in hand have to be relevant here. Has to be reach for a flyer plus a removal spell for another one. Let's see, because none of my cards are relevant. Close. So close. They're like 1 card from stable there. Because we were not hitting any gas in the end, but luckily enough, they were just far enough away. The Brood Spinner. If any of you doubted it during the draft, how highly I was taking it over like Ghost Vacuum multiple times. This card was phenomenal. Probably the best card in our deck in terms of how it played. I mean, the 5 copies of Drag to the Roots were also very important, but that could have been like any other premium removal. There's not a lot of other cards that are similar to Brood Spinner, where they're just great setup in their early game. A 2-mana 2/3 reach for early blocks, plus some Surveil, which is great with Delirium, but then also like a great finisher late. Yeah, I was talking about the biggest flaw in this deck being kind of the lack of finishers. Wasn't accounting enough for how good Brood Spinner is in terms of filling that finisher role. As we saw in that very last game, you get 5 or 6 insects, like that's a finisher right there. They have to spend so many resources or get so many blockers to stop those from chipping away turn over turn. Those can absolutely take the game for you. So great work from Brood Spinner. Defiant Survivor was also an overperformer for sure. This is not a card I'm super into because it's the kind of card that's only going to work well if you are attacking into an empty board, basically, because it only has 2 toughness. So it's really not often you get to attack with this and have it live, but if you have it in your hands that have multiple Drag to the Roots, Unable to Scream style cards, like, you do get quite an army out of just this 1 card, which can be very good. And it did play that way for us once or twice today, so I will say that that overperformed. I will say that this often plays like a 3-mana 3/2 with no abilities. So you have to account for the times where you draw this and it just doesn't work at all, like if you top deck a late game, when you're accounting for how good this card is. So I don't want to like overstate how good the card is. It's still inconsistent, it's still not great, but it did show up at the right times today, and it played pretty well today. So that was nice. Cartographer played really well. That was because we got really lucky with it, getting it off of the weight room once or twice. So having like the 5/5 Cartographer makes it a lot easier for that to survive and draw those lands. Really, got pretty lucky in terms of when we drew everything in the deck. All of the synergies kind of worked out well. We drew cards at the right time to get the maximum value out of their abilities. And so the deck really carried, made it all the way to the full trophy run without any rares, without any bombs. I said at the very start of this draft, I'm always a little hesitant to be in these splashier, delirium-focused green decks without bombs, because I don't think those are the biggest reasons to get into these colors, but it turns out just grinding out a bunch of great 2-for-1 value off of these cards can absolutely still win you the game. And that is what happened today. Some really good, really consistent stuff from the deck for a 7-1, only a single loss all draft. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.